Get you a decent cast iron skillet. Doesn't have to be big, just a small one like this. Fits right in the bag. Easy to keep up with, easy to clean. Fits right in our bag. So this is the contents of our bag, and this right here is all it takes for us to have a great shore lunch right here at the pond edge. Now the first thing you're going to notice here is my fire. I've got a real small fire bed. This is not to be confused with a survival fire. I don't have a backing. I'm not trying to reflect my heat. I don't have a lot of big logs as a base. This is purely a cooking fire. Nice and flat, hot, but it's gonna burn out pretty fast so that when I'm finished eating, this fire's pretty much burned down. I can just sprinkle a little water on it and I can go. I don't want this to burn for a long period of time. This is not a teepee fire. When you're in the Boy Scouts and whatever, you learn a nice teepee fire. Pretty hard to set this skillet on a teepee. So I want a nice flat fire here with just some hot, almost just a kindling fire, if you will. These small pieces that are going to get intensely hot and set really nice and flat. So I've got that going there. I've got my skillet. The first thing I know is that my potatoes and onions are going to take a whole lot longer to cook than my fish will. So the first thing I'm going to do so I'll just slice this onion and potato up here. This man can't live on meat alone. Make these some nice chunks. Just put these in some slices. Peel my onion off a little here. Cut those on a little angle to cut down on the cooking time of them. And I'm ready to put them in this skillet. So I'll take my glove, add a little bit of my oil to my skillet. How much, you wonder? Well, about that much. Actually, that's about 4 tablespoons. Get a good coating on the bottom of my pan. I can always add more oil later on if I need to. So I'll take my pan, place it right here on my coals, get it where it sets nice and flat because I want that oil to be nice and flat across the bottom. Take the potatoes. That skillet's going to get extremely hot. Now you'll notice this is not your backyard grill. This is not a barbecue. This is going to get extremely hot because our skillet is actually sitting right on the heat. So I'll go ahead, put those in there. Take my spatula here. Get those kind of going. Little ashes get in there, that's okay. That's just a little more seasoning. Got those going good. Hit them with a couple of shakes of this. Again, you can find this recipe on our website at KeetonInTheKitchen.com. That gets going. And now it's time for me to saute up the fish that I caught earlier. First, I've got to get the meat off of them. So how am I going to do that? I could set them in their hole, of course, but we're going to fillet these fish today just to make it a whole lot easier on us. Here's how we're going to do it. So I've got my fish here. This is a legal bass in the state of Kentucky. It's 12 inches. Caught him in a farm pond here where we were just fishing. So I've got him laid out. I talked earlier about keeping your knife extremely sharp. This is why. I'm going to make my first incision right behind his gill plate here. I'm just going to go down through till I feel the backbone. Once I feel that backbone, I'm going to turn my knife 90 degrees. Follow right along this backbone. Now you have to have the tip of your knife extremely sharp to do this. I'm following right along the backbone, and went between the backbone and hitting those ribs, my knife's going in about a ½ an inch. So I'm just going to follow right along this backbone, all the way down the back of him, like so. Follow right along here, right there to his tail. Now, there are 2 ways of filleting. One way says I go down through here and I cut along the belly just exactly like I did. The second way, which I typically prefer, is I'm just going to follow along this rib cage on this fish. This works for all types of fish too, so if you have anything else you want to do this with, it works. follow right along that rib cage. This knife again is extremely sharp, so I'm just cutting right alongside the ribs. If you do end up with a few bones, we'll get those out in just a moment. So here I'm going to go. You can feel those rib bones with your knife blade. When you feel one, just lift your blade up ever so slightly and it'll follow along. Now, the key to this fillet is right here at the end of this tail. Do not, if you can help it, take this knife all the way through. What you want to do is fold this fillet back, like so. It's still attached. Then I get to slide my knife right here between this meat and the